Hi, I'm Shannon Steffi, Senior Editor for Internal Auditor Magazine. I'm talking to Rania Bejjani, Vice President, Group Internal Audit and Risk Management at Colt Technology Services Group in the UK. Rania will be presenting a session at the IA's International Conference on Communication, Influence, and Partnerships on Monday, July 7th at 11:10 a.m. Welcome, Rania. Thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Hello, Shannon. I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm wonderful, thank you. Please tell our viewers a little bit about your background.
Sure, Shannon. I bring to the table about 17 years of international experience across finance, audit and risk management, and business transformation. As you have pointed out yourself, I'm currently the VP or Global Head for Group Internal Audit and Risk Management at Colt Technology in London, and Colt is a pan-European business. I joined Colt about 7 years ago, and at the time, internal audit was quite an underperforming team, hardly recognized or heard in the business. And I have embarked on a journey of transforming internal audit there, which gives me hopefully the credibility to be able to share that experience with peers and colleagues all over the world. Prior to joining Colt, I was working for a number of large corporates, including GE, Pearson's, Chevron Texaco, and Deloitte across UK and Australia.
Great. Can you give us a brief overview of your session at the International Conference?
Yeah, I will be talking about impact, influence, and partnerships, which are topics very close to my heart, and I'm quite passionate about, and I'd love to share my experience with my colleagues.
Can you discuss some of the communications challenges auditors face and how they can overcome them?
Shannon, I believe these come really in two buckets. On one hand, we have some strategic challenges. On the other, we have some tactical ones. Strategically speaking, we find that a number of boards and senior management think or say that audit does not understand their business. This is further aggravated by a number of audit teams feeling or believing that they are the poor cousin. So can you imagine if the teams don't believe in themselves, how can they convey any confidence to the business? This is further, even when they're not plagued with this feeling of being less, we also find that a lot of internal audit teams are quite inwardly focused, and that affects their communication. So from a tactical perspective, we also find that a lot of internal audit teams often are too much in the detail, or they don't provide the full picture. They can be at times a bit textbook and idealistic, etc., 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 and other things. And all that does impact the quality of the communication and the quality of the rapport that is established. So what can we do about that, and how can we solve some of that? I'll go in a lot of detail, or I should say in a lot more detail, in my conference in July, and will impart some of my experience there. And a snapshot, I guess first and foremost, internal heads of audit and internal audit teams need to understand their business. They need to understand their priorities, their strategic objectives, the challenges, the constraints, and communicate in that framework. Communicate in reference to these. They also need to know their audience and flex their style and flex their behavior accordingly so that they can reach their target audience. From a tactical perspective, it's about the how we communicate, the when, the which way. Again, speaking the language of the business, trying to be clear and concise, being pragmatic, realistic, and proposing solutions that would be viable and that would add value to the business. And I firmly believe that above all, is about internal audit believing in their own proposition and believing in themselves and what they bring to the table, because that changes and flavors the conversation completely differently.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the practices auditors can implement to enhance their communication skills?
Yes, know your business. First and foremost, know your business. Know their language, speak their language. Communicate through their values in terms of the priorities and the challenges and the constraints. When you are presenting findings, don't just talk about the issues and the facts, but There is the very important so what question. Why is that a concern? Why should management take action? What is the impact of the organization? What would happen if not? Very importantly as well is about providing a positive assurance. Some internal audit teams, all they do is provide the negative, negative, negative. But in reality, we have also a role of communicating what works and what's going on. And these are things that are valuable to the business. Know your own value, of course. And there are plenty of tactical tips and helpful hints around what can be done on a day-to-day basis to make this happen.
Now, if attendees took away one thing from your presentation, what would you want that to be?
You know, Shannon, a lot of people talk about relationships being 50-50. I vehemently disagree with that. In my personal belief, relationships are 100-100. We individually and as teams are 100% responsible for what we say and how it is received and what it conveys. We cannot blame the business. We cannot blame others. We got to take ownership. And if there's one thing that I would like the attendees to go with is that the onus for the effective communication rests squarely with us. And us as heads of audit, we are the people responsible to effect that change within our teams and to make that happen.
Great, thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. We owe that to our profession.
Wonderful. I just want to thank you for your time today, Rania. We look very forward to seeing you in London.
Likewise. Thank you, Shannon.